and white for a perfectly festive Christmas card. This one is going to use a bunch of the new dies together so you can see how really nicely they work together too. I'll show you which ones we're using. I have the Christmas tree adornment from the configurations range, the bold snowflake frame, and that we're going to use on with our sentiment. And we will be using one side of the Snowflake Gemini to add a little bit of interest to the edge of our card. And the self-adhesive sticky sheets we'll be using with our sentiment to add a little bit of glitter just to set it off a tiny bit. Set that back there. And first thing we want to do is do a little bit of cutting. I've already gone ahead and cut one of the Snowflake Geminis, but I'm going to do the other one. If you notice, there are two different sides to this, so you can use them together, you can use them separately, you can use them with the cutting edge in the middle, or you can put them together, so there's a lot of different options. I'm going to use this side by itself, piece of card here, so give it a quick tape onto a piece of coconut white card. There we go. Pop that down, and you want to run your die through the machine the long way down so it rolls across the intricacy of the die. Pop it that direction. There we go. And there it is. Just a quick roll over with my tool-in-one and remove the tape. There we go. Now your Gemini dies, you'll need to nip the edges, and we are going to use this bottom part to attach it to our card. So I'm just going to cut it inward a little bit like that. There we go. Pop that down, and one more little bit here. Take that out. Put that back. So I've already gone ahead and done one on the back of the green card here. I'm going to add a little bit of tape on the underside of that, and line this one up in about the same spot. That looks good, and I've got just a tiny little bit sticking out here, so I'm going to nip that away on both sides. There we go. So you've got a really pretty edge that comes out from the Brunswick green card that I've used. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that into place on our background. I've added a little bit of that same green and white there, and let me just add one more piece of mounting foam. That'll give it a nice even layer. And that will create the base for this card, and it's going to be just centered here in the middle. Let me just get that as straight as I can. There we go. And this piece of the green here, I'll give you a quick measurement on what we started with. It is 5 by 5, okay? So you've got a 5-inch border there if you want. You could even cut that down a little bit smaller if you prefer to have a smaller card, so that's not an issue at all. Let's do a little bit of tidy. Okay, so moving forward from there, the next thing I want to do is I've got a piece of white card, just a smaller square, and it is 3 by 3. And I've cut 4 of these Christmas tree configurations. And you can see they're just really nicely detailed. You've got your pretty little swirls there. I'm going to add a little bit of glue just to the top edge on the bottom here on all of these. I've gone ahead and done one already. Let me just pop a little bit of our dries clear glue on there on all 3 of those. And then we're just going to tuck the edge of that underneath the white card here, so they'll be coming out from all sides. Get it nice and straight. Give it a second to set up. There we go. So you've got the little 3-inch configuration. It fits perfectly around this. There we go. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can put it on your card so it looks more like a square or more like a diamond. So different options there. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it into place, and I'm going to use it so it's kind of like a little square. I've got some mounting foam already on the back. So it's going to sit right in the middle of our green piece there. Just get it centered as even as possible. Okay, so moving up from that, what I'm going to do is cut the bold snowflake frame out of a piece of white card. So I'm going to use the outer edge. Let me tidy that up a little bit. Pop that right into place. Just hold that down. We're going to take the next piece, the decorative piece, and put that in there. Get it nice and centered. Just look around the edge, and if it looks equal all the way around, then you've got a real nice centered one. And what I want to do is I'm going to create later a little frame for it. So I'm going to take the smaller of the two circular dies that are in the set and cut it out of the center there. And that will give me a little bit of an edge to put that frame onto. Pop that into place. Center both sides of that. And run that through the platinum machine. There we go. Okay, and get my tooling one, give it a little tooling, take our tape off. There we go. Got lots of little taped pieces here, but I think it's always easier to put more tape than less tape. You don't want things moving out of their position while you're cutting them. And a few little bits we've popped out here. So you can see I've got a really nice little frame. So what I've done, I've gone ahead and I've added a little bit of mounting foam to the back of this, and I've got one here. So we're going to pop over and use that one. Just tidy up a tiny bit. We can move forward. I've got my stamped sentiment, and I've just stamped it in black. I'm going to cover it with a little piece of our self-adhesive sticky sheet. Now, I always go on about this. If you've got these little itty-bitty pieces left over, they're perfect for sentiments and stuff. Don't throw them away. Even though they're small, they're exactly the right size. Pop that over the top. And I'm going to peel this back now. Make sure I get it on there good. There we go, exposing the adhesive. And what I find is easier is if I bring this over, I pop my frame in place on the top of it, center it down nicely. Let's make sure we got that right where we want it. There we go. And go over to my glitter and now glitter it, and we'll trim the excess away. And that way you know your frame is going to stick on there really nicely. There we go. Tap that off. Bring in our scissors and we can trim away the extra bit that we don't need. Just go in at an angle so you don't cut through your frame. And, oops, there we go. Okay. And then let's tidy all of our glitter back up so we can use it later. There we go. Okay, so now I've got a really nicely glittered sentiment, drawing your eye in. I'm going to add a little bit of mounting foam to the back of that. I'm going to go ahead and bring it over and put it in the center of our card. Just center that up right in the middle and just add a little bit extra of a focal element to this. What I've done is I've used a couple of the circular dies. In fact, I will dig them out and show them to you, that are in the bold snowflake frame. There are two of these here. So what I've done is I've cut a couple pieces of white card glued together to create just a really nice thin frame there. And I'm going to add some glue to that. I'll just go in with a really light bead of the dries clear glue all the way around it. There we go. Move that around and I'll pop that into place. And remember how I said we had a little extra room there because we used the smaller of the two. So you've got a place to seat that on. And we've got a perfect card. Now the only other thing that I've done here is I've gone around the edge with the white PVA glue dot. So I want to quickly show you that. I've got a piece of milk card because I thought it would actually show up a little bit better. Our Cosmic Shimmer PVA glues make perfect little pearls, but there's a couple little tricks you need to know. So take your lid off, and what I usually will do is find a piece of scratch paper. Just make sure it's flowing. There's nothing that's gotten dried on the end or whatnot, so make sure it's flowing really well. Then I go to my background, and I will just tip off a little bit, pull it away, And you see that the tip of that glue bottle never touches the paper. I let the glue roll off the top onto the paper, pull straight away. And you can see you get perfectly formed dots each time. So easy. And then you let that sit to dry overnight. If you touch the tip, it will flatten all the dots, so you can see the difference between the two. So if you want the perfectly formed ones, just pull it away, let it roll off, pull it away. So easy. And these come in so many different colors for you too. So you can see it adds an absolute perfect little accent for your borders, and you don't want to forget all your little borders on your cards too. Our YouTube channel has a little button right there that says you can subscribe to it, and that's all you need to do is click on that, and it will bring you all of my videos and you can watch them. Hope you've enjoyed today's.